Hello, peace seekers. This is Soneakqua White dropping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. And today I want to talk to you about the ability to both forgive and remember. A lot of times when different people talk about forgiveness, it sometimes makes you feel like they want you to forgive and to forget, or we want you to forgive and to forget. But in this video, what I'm talking about is not that. I still want you to forgive because that is for you. That releases you from the hold that the person or whatever that thing is has on you. But I really don't want you to forget in some instances. I actually want you to remember. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience as a child with parts of my family, and some of my family cannot stand it when I use us as examples, but sometimes it's the only example that I have because it's my family, it's a part of my history, and sometimes it's just the best example that I can give you to make you understand and to see what I'm talking about, and to maybe be able to evaluate the parts of your life that you need to evaluate. So in forgiving and remembering, sometimes the remembering is the part that keeps you from doing the same thing over again, that keeps you from getting hurt or re-traumatized. You have to remember so that it can protect you. The remembering can be your protection or a part of your protection. The forgiveness is so that it releases you so that you can be free. If you need to be around certain people that you just can't get out of your life because they're family or because it's work or because it's whatever, you may not be able to put that thing or those people out of your life. So you need to be able to forgive so that you can function in that environment. The remembrance part is to keep you safe in that environment. So here's a little bit about what I'm talking about. As a kid, I can remember as early as maybe 6 or 7 years old where I visited my family, and even though I enjoyed myself because I had cousins that were right around my age, I wanted to play with them and hang out with them and be with them in the summers. There was something that was going on within the family system that was very, very uncomfortable and that I did not like. As a 6 or 7 year old, I wasn't able to exactly explain to my parents what it was. And so I soon forgot about what it was, what the discomfort was, what the unease was. However, I didn't return to visit my family until I was about 12. When I wanted to hang out with my cousins, be with them again, and play, but that year I was old enough to realize what it was. My mom would send me money or send me with money so as not to burden the family or to do things that, that I wanted to do. But mainly I think so as not that I wouldn't be a burden on the family if I needed something that for me that I didn't have to ask them for it. I could get it and pay for it myself. But what started happening is because they knew that I had money or that my mom sent money to them for me, they would get me, coax me, urge me to spend it, and on things that I didn't need or want, and some of the things I didn't even like. They wanted it so that they would spend my money on the things that they wanted instead of doing the things that they needed to do with their own money. That year, at the age of 12, I realized it. I could verbalize it. I knew what the problem was. So I told my parents when I got home after that summer that I did not want to go back unless one of them was with me. But after a year or so, I forgot. So maybe 3 or 4 years later, I remember being around 15 or 16 when I went back because I had forgotten what I didn't like about the situation. So I experienced the exact same situation again when I went back a few years later, even though I enjoyed being with my cousins, I enjoyed, just being in the summertime, being with family or whatever, I remembered after it started happening again. So that of them spending the money that was supposed to be for me to alleviate some of their stress, so that, an extra child, feeding an extra child or whatever that I needed, but they were spending my money on not what it was intended to be spent for. And then they knew that I could ask for more from my parents. So they didn't have a problem with spending my money. I had a problem with them spending my money. After that year, I didn't go back again ever, because I remembered why I stayed away for the period of years, why I didn't go back every summer. So even though that may not seem like a big deal, it was a big deal for me. So there are some issues that some of you are having that are going to be bigger issues than that. And if you do not remember, you're going to put yourself in the same situation over and over and over again. Maybe it's a domestic violence situation. If you don't remember, if you allow yourself to forget, then you will put yourself back in an abusive situation. It may not be with the same person, but it might be with the same type of person, because you don't remember what it was like to be in that relationship. Maybe it's something that you were doing with your nutrition. You're not supposed to be eating certain types of food. You get sick, but after a few weeks or maybe a few months, you forget. You don't remember that those types of food cause you problems, and you eat them again. So you're sick again. So what I'm saying is, and food doesn't have anything to do with forgiveness. That has to do with more of a person. But what I'm talking about is forgiveness. You want to forgive the people in your life that cause you distress, but you want to also remember the people in your life that cause you distress and the thing that's behind the distress. So forgive the person, remember the issue. So this is not always about forgive and forget. Let the person off the hook. Treat them like they didn't do anything to you. Let them back into your life the way that they were before, and trust them again, and all of that. Don't think of forgiveness as that, letting them off the hook. Think of forgiveness as letting yourself off the hook so that you can function, and you can function well. And remembering why you needed to forgive that person in the first place, and not allowing yourself to go fall back into the system or the issue or the influence or the environment or the events that you had to forgive someone for. Okay? So you can both forgive and remember to keep yourself in a good place mentally and emotionally. You can both forgive and remember. Forgive the person, remember the situation, so that you know how to protect yourself. If you're going back into a situation where you've already had to forgive that person or people for a certain thing, remember what it is that you had to forgive them for, so that you can protect yourself from it. Okay, I hope this video was clear and helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe so that you get all the videos. If you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear from you. I'll do my best to respond. If it's a question or just a comment, I will respond to you. I will be back with more, but until then, be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless.